the chairman of INEC in the commentary, which we referred to earlier. Now, this is going to be towards the end of this comments, which you should listen to. It's just towards the end of it, so just pay some attention to it. Have a look.
We are glad that the police has made several arrests and investigation is ongoing. I wish to assure Nigerians that the Commission will work very closely with the Inspector General of Police and the Nigerian Police to ensure the diligent prosecution of all violators of our electoral laws. Citizens are asking for effective but non-intrusive protection before, during, and immediately after elections, in which their rights are respected and their choices safeguarded. The Commission is concerned that many of our materials, including ballot boxes, voting cubicles, voters' registers, and smart card readers, were lost to acts of hooliganism and thuggery in the elections held 2 weeks ago. Most worrisome is the attack on electoral officials. Some of our staff were abducted and taken hostage in an attempt to disrupt elections or influence the outcome. In fact, some of the supplementary elections I referred to earlier were caused by such acts of thuggery. I'm confident that working together with the security agencies will consolidate on the largely peaceful conduct of the Presidential and National Assembly elections, while also taking decisive steps to deal with the minority of violators intent on disrupting the conduct of peaceful elections. However, the Commission will not tolerate the act of holding our officials hostage and forcing them to declare winners under duress. Where such occurs, the Commission will not reward bad behavior by issuing them the certificates of return.
So there you have it. That's the context in which he said it. So by all means, anyone who violates the law, you have to face the music, because we will, rightly, nobody should tolerate anyone who violates the law, particularly for this process or any other process at that. But when it says they will not reward bad behavior by issuing them certificates of return, there are many who also wonder, is it within the powers of INEC to withhold certificates of return if RO has declared the results?
It's within the powers of INEC. Before they make any final declaration, all things must be in order. INEC has the power, by virtue of paragraph 15, sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution, that of the test schedule, to organize elections. And they have all-inclusive power to ensuring that the right things are done. We're talking about procedure here. And they have stated it, and Mr. Uzitu was trying to get in there, that they will not reward bad behavior. And bad behavior includes any malfeasance that will rob or disrupt the system. Again, that's even simple. That's now taking it administratively. Then, to me, practically, somebody has said, I declared the result, or I declared the result under duress. Simple. Okay, we go back to the basics. From the polling unit down to your own point. We bring out the results again. And
who is going to do that?
That's INEC.
Because the question then, part of the questions will be, now, assuming that that happened, and if you're returning officer
I'm still going to the second leg of this.
Okay, finish the second leg, so I can just go with the question.
INEC has that power to do that. Then it is now revolved on, having gone through the mill of going back, if there is now contestation, it's not using your fisticuffs or even this argument, it is now going to court. To the tribunal. If there's contestation about, yes, it is true that I declared under duress. Obviously, don't forget that there are other candidates too who want to benefit or reap from this. Then they should go to the tribunal, because that's where it will now settle everything. And of course, the natural thing the tribunal will say is that, oh, you declared under duress? Yes, okay, let us look at the result that has occurred. Then it will be...
So who will look at that? INEC will begin to look at that again?
No, not INEC now. It is the court. It is the tribunal now.
That is in the event that there is a contestation at the tribunal?
No, a contestation will take them to the tribunal.
Right. So, but what then happens if, assuming that scenario plays out, maybe the returning officer declares a result and says, I declared this result under duress.
Yes.
If that happens and there isn't any contestation yet, and INEC says we will not issue certificates of return. What does that mean? Does it mean that the person doesn't stand elected?
Obviously.
Or what?
It means that he has to go to the tribunal to, they're going to call mandamus in court, in law. So he has to.
So he will now ask the court to issue an order of mandamus.
No. The other INEC to issue
certificates of return. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's what he will do.
He will to the tribunal that he is the elected, validly returned candidate, having scored the highest number of votes in that constituency, and that the tribunal should order INEC to issue him the certificate of return, which they have withheld.
One major concern, okay, Michael, one major concern and another point that a lot of people felt INEC fell short of in the presidential elections is that of the ballot boxes. Mm-hmm. We've had situations where they've been snatched, they've been destroyed in Agor Palace Way here in Lagos. Mm. It was just a free fall for the thugs who came in there and just ensured that the election process was disrupted completely. A lot of people are still pointing towards an e-balloting up to this time. Do you feel that that particular incident in various parts of the country, do you think that we will record or witness that once again when we go to the polls tomorrow? Or do you feel that the security agencies will be up and about this time around to ensure that at least we have 3 policemen in each polling unit as prescribed by INEC?
I'm laughing because the issue is not about the policemen being near. Those policemen don't bear arms. I go to prisons regularly, once in the process of my work to carry out football. But for people, ordinarily some people will come to us as activists that these persons have been imprisoned, and we look at it, this offense should not be more than 3 months, and he's spending 3 years, 4 years in the prison. Then we go there, see how we can get them out, and we do get them out. And some of them are hardened, they even want to go back, they want to stay there. Those people, they are like when we're in the Aluta days, that how many students soldier go kill. They're careless about life. So those people, we see soldier with guns, they're careless. They are still ready. So we have a whole lot of work to do. And I hope INEC too, Mr. Osose is listening now, that we have a whole lot of work to do in terms of voter education, in terms of even putting the political parties on their toe, and the civil society, the general public on itself. That is one. You see, we have to take it up. We are, of course, as a member of the MP, the last election, the first time we start this idea of e-voting, I went for an assignment in Ilorin as a private assignment of mine for a client. And of course, our election fell. I was there when the election was to take place. I belong to the Ikeja bar. And ordinarily, I should have said I will have to vote in Ikeja if it were, or we normally vote in the general conference at a point. But now we have the whole thing has been decentralized. We vote anywhere using the phone. I hope INEC will look at that. And of course, we interact with them to see how we can. Because after this meeting too, we held our own.
So the Lagos bar succeeded in this?
Not Lagos bar, the whole Nigerian Bar Association. We don't sit down anywhere and vote now. Everyone will vote through the phone. Right, so it's something that they too call the leadership of the bar if they have not yet known. Fortunately, my brother is a lawyer too, so he knows what I'm talking about. So it's something that you can do. If not, again, we and my group, Voters Awareness Initiative, have brought on an idea, and of course, I don't want to put it out in this platform, that will engage them, that definitely we can do it. It's done.
But this is not up to INEC alone.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, fortunately, the chairman too have said that there's going to be a big conversation about the issues of elections. So definitely, we must talk about this because we have seen a whole lot of activities that are coming out, logistics, planning, infrastructure, materials, and so on. In fact, the most important thing that
exit polls. Exit polls.
Exit polls. Then even the number of political parties. Everyone tomorrow now, any one of you will say you want to become president. Obviously, it's your right, but then there must be provisions. Section 45 is there. Because you have a right, it's not absolute. That right must be within the confines of the law. So we must do things according to law in this country. Not that everybody will just come out. Look, that is because of the number of ballot paper of parties that made all this stress to be on the system.
Do you think tomorrow there will be ballot box snatching?
There will be. That's what I'm telling you, because there are two issues, principally, not for use, not to use because they want to go and count it somewhere. We are past that stage. But the issue is that they will be used, it will be used for mischief. I know that my political opponent is winning, or this is a stronghold. You go there to destroy the system, to disrupt the bullet power, so as to reduce the number of votes.
Let's take that to Ms. Uzi, because Ms. Uzi, I know that, look, this was a consideration that INEC had, even right from 1999. Because politicians got smarter, they started looking at it and said, okay, look, okay, well, if he's stronger here, let me disrupt it, because the Electoral Act says, well, if there's violence there,
it will be 0 votes.
It will be 0 votes, and they won't happen. And I know that there's been several conversations about this, even before now. But what's your thinking about it? How do you think that this should actually be approached such that if there's violence, again, we don't reward those who are fomenting that trouble because they know or they expect that the results will be declared inconclusive, or there will be no results declared there, which will be a loss to whoever is stronger in that area. What do you think we should do about that?
Well, first of all, let me put things in context. I'm happy that Wale is a member of the Keja branch. He also knows what he didn't tell you is that, regrettably, the outcome of the electronic voting the first time it was done by the NBA, that case is in court. There were issues, basic issues about people not finding their names on the register, people who had verified themselves, serious challenges with the deployment of technology in the NBA elections. I'm a member of the NBA as well, an active and very proud member of that. So Wale should have put that in context. But having said that, technology is the way to go eventually. Wale also knows that you must amend the legal framework for us to now have that amount of technology into the system. He knows that. You know, with the way as the law as it stands now, there's a manual foundation. Everything is manual. You go, you register, you come in person to the polling unit. That's what the law says now. You come in person, you bring your card. In fact, each time we have tried to go ahead of the law, like this card reader, there's still controversy. You know what the Supreme Court said? It welcomed the idea, but probably said that, look, there has to be legislative intervention. There will be no judicial activism to, as good as the card reader is, as well as it can improve our process. But there are certain things where there are conflicts between the regulations allowing card reader or allowing technology, where there are conflicts with the substantive law. Then obviously the substantive law will take precedence, will displace the regulations. So we're being creative, and we know that online voting or voting in such technology cannot come overnight. So we have been laying the foundation. We've gone ahead of the law. That's why we have an electronic register of voters. That's why we have the PVC card, which is electronic, which has a chip inside of it. If you're going to do electronic voting, you will need these foundations. Now, the law says, for example, collation of results. People are complaining, oh, why is it so laborious? Why do we have to call 73 parties? Why do we have to bring the results to Abuja? Because the law says so. Once you vote at the polling unit using paper, ballot, manual, it will be counted manually. You collate the results and write them out manually. You know, and then you go to the next level of collation, you collate manually, enter it into a form. So all these things are the foundations upon which our law stands. You now have to amend these things. That's why I disagreed with my colleagues who said, for example, that where the 2015 Amendment to the Electoral Act said that, look, there's a clause in the earlier saying that electronic voting for now is banned. The use of technology is banned. Now, even doing away with that with 2015 Amendment, it did not cure the things because all the other processes are manual. You cannot build an electronic skyscraper on a manual foundation. So we must stick with the law. We are at the forefront of the increased use of technology in our process because it limits human interference. But there's a danger. Technology is not cure all. Because once you go online and start doing online voting, then you are susceptible to being hacked. You are susceptible to people who don't believe in the system doing all sorts of things, and you might vote in one place. In Kenya, there was almost a constitutional crisis at the last one election because of transmission, electronic transmission of results. And it required that the transmission must be the only way to verify results. So they had a constitutional crisis. There are glitches in technology. Glitches can happen. We have seen that in everyday use of computers and our cell phones. So there must also be a paper trail, quite honestly, an audit trail, if we're going to use technology. And the backbone has to be there. People don't realize, for example, that we don't have 100% coverage, GSM coverage in this country. from our statistics with the NCC, I think there's a 92, 98% coverage. But there are some blind spots. There are some places where you cannot transmit. How will those people be disenfranchised because they don't have access to that technology or access to that service? It's a good conversation. We must have it, but certain basic rules must be laid and safeguards must be put in place. There's no foolproof thing. Each time we found out that in INEC last 20 years, each time you bring a solution to a problem, that solution itself creates another problem because politicians go ahead of you and try to do other things. So but it definitely is a conversation, and we will have a lot more technology in our system going forward. But let's tread slowly, carefully, and methodologically.
Yeah, that would be lovely to have. So if you could respond to the second part of the question, concerning those who go to foment trouble, and then because they, according to the law, there will be no results declared in those areas. What's your impression of that? What should we do to discourage them?
Yes, I was re-echoing the chairman when I said we will not reward bad behavior. And fortunately, we have the backing of the law. Section 26 of the Electoral Act says where there is crisis, an emergency, or violence, you do not declare a result. Especially what happened in Lagos was really, really regrettable. It was very, very sad, very unfortunate. You go and you burn people's ballots after all the hassles, all the trouble and everything else. But you don't reward that. But we must give those people an opportunity. If there are results, if after collating from other places not affected by that vice, and we see that, look, there's a margin and we don't know who will win, what we have to do is go back, reinforce, and go back to conduct our election. We're backed by that Section 26 of the Electoral Act. There shouldn't be impunity, and that's why we're working closely with the security agents. Let us identify those people who do that, and let us punish them. Don't reward bad behavior by saying, okay, it's cancelled, and it will not count at all. It will count, because, one, we punish them. They shouldn't get away with such impunity. Number two, where we can reinforce the next day or a week later, or as we have done 2 weeks later, we go back with increased security as well to ensure that does not reoccur. Because this is supposed to be a civil thing, but there will always be deviants, and those deviants should not be allowed to ruin it for the vast majority of law-abiding Nigerian citizens who just want to go there to express their fundamental constitutional rights.
Mr. Uzi, Mr. Wale, that is encouraging, isn't it? Because if you go ahead and foment trouble, if they look at that margin and know that no, there's a miss here, they will go back and conduct that election. That should be satisfactory, isn't it?
I just want to put something clear. I guess maybe my brother did not pick me very well. I wasn't saying that we're going to use the phone or technology for the next election now. I know that as a lawyer, definitely that they are operating with the law. The law have to be amended to take care of current technology and so on. So it doesn't seem as if I don't know what I'm saying.
It means that even if we go full technology, there may still be challenges.
That's not NBA election. Definitely. I mean, Nigeria everything is a learning process. We have to go. We won't say because there are some issues, then we'll not move on. A woman who has a stillbirth or who had an abortion or a miscarriage will not say she will not want to have another baby. We have to move forward. But that's by the way. Now, that's why there is room for supplementary election, and that's why we'll be having some supplementary elections all over those places that we are disturbances. And that's why we want INEC to really open up and know that indeed where there are such issues, then they will let people know that definitely you can't get away with it. Then there will be a supplementary election, and they will now man those places very well. And as to add more, not only INEC now, but the security agencies should note all these flashpoints all over the country. I mean, if anything at all, we know Akwa Ibom, we know Rivers. And of course, even Kwara now is going to be something serious. So all those places are places that they should be on the lookout for, because definitely we know that it won't be easy. Ogun State now is going to be a big place too, because particularly Abeokuta, particularly the Ijebu area, particularly, in fact, all over Ogun State, Yewa, everywhere, it's going to be big, because the political emperors there wants to dig in and ensure that indeed nothing opposes them. And in doing that, they will deploy everything. We've been hearing news, and of course, it's not for fun, that thugs have been brought to different places. People have been so...
What state is that?
All states.